Hello, I am excited. I'm going to do another tea tasting. I'm doing a lot of these because I have a lot of teas that are getting ready to run out. I know I started it off saying that I needed to get rid of tea and that I wanted new tea, but not till I got rid of a lot of old teas. So I have actually been working my way through my teas pretty quickly, which is exciting. And I did get gifted a few teas that I am going to show today, and then a couple that were in my store that I needed to get rid of. Actually, one in my store that I needed to get rid of. So I'm going to start off talking about Adagio's yerba mate. It is just a regular mate. But here's the big excitement for today's video. I have, are you ready for it? Get ready for it. My reading glasses. So I have really, really bad eyes. I wear contacts. I can't see anything without them. And this year I asked if I needed to get bifocals, and they said, no, you really only need like level 1, really basic reading glasses from CVS. So that's what I have. And it makes a big difference when I'm reading. So this one doesn't actually have a lot to read. It's just mate. So this is going to be the second one I drink. And I know it's a little bit breaking the rules because it's technically an herbal tea. But I don't consider it an herbal. I kind of consider it along with green teas because it's not a black tea. It doesn't count as a black tea. It has a ton of caffeine. So I'm actually wanting to get back into, let's see if I can get these open. These are really hard to open. I think I cut the last one. No, there, I got it. So mates, I may actually start drinking mate more like a coffee. I like coffee. I drink it sometimes, but not very often. So this says 3 to 5 minutes at 150 Fahrenheit. So that's actually not that hot. It's not as hot as I normally brew my tea. So I'm going to smell. So it's very hard to describe what mate smells like because it just smells like mate to me, because I used to drink it in Chile, as I mentioned in my last video. And so it's got like a grassy, almost kind of leafy, it almost smells like autumn leaves in the backyard when they've been sitting for a while. That's what I think of. I think of more of like, or like when you have kind of old dried herbs and you crinkle them up a little bit, they're really old, so they don't have much of the original herbal scent anymore. But they just have sort of the scent of leaves. Or again, I don't want you to think of it as like a moldy smell, but it's almost like when you take a dry dead leaf and you crinkle it up in your hands, and kind of the smell it gives off. I don't know. That's what I think of. It just reminds me of the campo, the countryside in Chile. So I'm going to use half of this. These are supposed to be for a full cup, but I find that I can often, if I'm making a small cup, so I'm using my little teapot, that I can make them last for 2 cups. I think I tend to I tend to put fewer tea leaves and brew for longer. So most of you know I have my little thermos of water over there. So that is going to steep for 3 to 5 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm going to talk about the other tea, which I have been drinking. So I brewed this tea, and I have been keeping them in here because they just stay perfectly warm, and it's really nice because I can use a smaller teacup. So this one is Earl Grey Bella Luna. So this is another Adagio. I cannot say enough. Adagio, I just started drinking. This was gifted to me. And they have what's called CommuniTEA. So for $19, which seems very inexpensive, you get a different one of these packets for the entire month. And you can actually go on their CommuniTEA section and you can look at what is scheduled for the whole month. I'm a little hesitant to do it because it just, if I want to show them all to you guys, it means I have to do a ton of tasting videos. Sorry about that. I have another computer next to me because for some reason the local tea shop that I get tea from, when that tea is no longer available, they take it off their website, and sometimes I can get a back way into getting information about the tea that's now discontinued, and I did that on one computer, but I couldn't figure it out on the one that I'm filming on. So let me read to you about this tea. So if you order from Adagio and you spend, I believe, more than $29, you get a free week of CommuniTEA. So they send you 7 different teas. Again, I'm really tempted to do the one for November or maybe December, especially because I'm new to Adagio. So almost all their teas are new to me. And so if I get 30 different teas, I'm not going to have tried any of them. Now, if you've been ordering from Adagio for a long time, you may be less interested, except that you get the option of communicating with other people about the teas, which it looks like it's a pretty active community, and they talk to each other, and they are very kind to each other, and they talk about pet projects. And then there's also a section where you just do a review of the tea, and you can either put like, meh, or dislike, and then you can write a review. And so it's a really, really nice way to get to know their teas. $19 is very inexpensive, and it's very kind of them that if you order anything, you get a week free. So I'm tempted. I'm very, very tempted, but it does mean I will have to really be up on my video. Okay. So this is a black tea with coconut. I was really excited. It had coconut in it. Blue cornflowers, natural coconut flavor, natural bergamot flavor, natural cream flavor, and it's high caffeine. So it's one of the reasons I'm making only a small mate, because it is afternoon. I've been drinking this, and if I drink a whole bunch of mate at this point, it might mess with my sleep. So here's what it says on their website, on their CommuniTEA site. The Earl Grey Bella Luna brings the light of the full moon to your cup. Robust Earl Grey shines with familiar bergamot notes, highlighted by a soft glow of coconut and cream. Rich, bright, and well-rounded, this tea is not to be missed, but it only rises once a month, so don't miss out. That's cute. So, first of all, I smelled it in here before I poured it and brewed it. I've been brewing ahead of time and then putting them in these, which keep them nice and warm, and then I can kind of drink throughout the day, because sometimes I don't have time in between clients when I'm doing sessions to run and get tea, and so I end up using a tea bag, and I would prefer to use the loose tea when I can. So this smells wonderful. It smells like coconut. It smells like bergamot. It really, really smells like bergamot. It also, what else is in this? I'm trying to think of what else maybe I may be smelling. maybe the blue cornflower, because I don't even know what that would smell. And when you smell it, it has a really strong smell after it's been brewed too, which a lot of them don't. It smells a lot like coconut, a lot like bergamot, and it does smell kind of creamy. So, taste. It's also a pretty tea. So for me, the taste was a little disappointing. And again, I do tend to use, I made a big teapot of this, which maybe this was too big of a teapot for this tea, and it had too much water for the tea leaves. I don't want to blame it on the tea quite yet because it smells wonderful. I'd be willing to give it another shot, and maybe it is user error that I just put too much. I put too much water in and maybe didn't steep it long enough, because I believe I set a timer for 5 minutes, because this was supposed to be at 212 for 3 to 5 minutes, and I thought if I brew it at the end point, I'd get what I want out of it, but it really it tastes like a nice black tea. It has a taste, a little bit of bergamot, a little bit of coconut, but it's not much. So I've been enjoying it. I've been drinking it. I will finish it. It's a nice black tea. It's not something I'm trying to expand with these teas so that when my mouth likes flavor. And it often will go for food even when I'm not hungry, because my mouth wants a flavor. So I'm trying to turn to tea more, especially some of the flavored teas that I have, to get the flavor that my mouth wants without the food that my body is not. I've done some work over the past few years on intuitive eating, if you know anything about that. And one of my biggest takeaways was paying attention to my body. I eat when I have any kind of discomfort, pretty much any kind of discomfort, but especially if I have any kind of discomfort in my GI area, more like I'll tend to get kind of a heartburn, and my reaction will be to eat. And eating does help it, but I'm not eating because I'm hungry. And so I've been trying to pay attention to when am I actually hungry. And it is less than the amount of time that I eat. So I've been trying to turn to teas a little bit for that as I try and take off some COVID weight. So not the aesthetic part is fine, but it's mainly because I'm getting old and my body does not react well to putting on a bunch of weight in a couple of years. And I want to be able to be active as long as I can. So my knee was bothering me from the extra weight, so I'm taking it off. So this smells like mate. It's hard. Okay, so I have my little flavor wheel that I pulled up from David's Teas. Let me see if I can find better words than it smells like mate. Okay, so it's earthy and woodsy. Does it smell, what does it smell like? Let's see. These are hard to read because they're supposed to be in color, but I don't have a color printer. So tobacco, maybe. It definitely smells smoky. Okay, oh, I'm gonna love this wheel because this will help. Smoky. No, smoky's a great word for it. A little bit of that tobacco kind of smokiness. What else? Campfire? No, I wouldn't say campfire. It's interesting that campfire is a different smell to me than smoky. I almost think of it as like when you smoke meat, like that kind of smell. What else? Pine? No. Oak? No. Forest? Maybe mushroom? Yeah, it's got a little bit of a mushroomy scent. So, oh, I love this. So this is just, if you go to David T's website, I think I found this because they have a, like a class on how to, oh, here it is. I think I have it here on this computer. It's called Steep School. So Steep School has a class on how to steep tea and how to taste tea. Yeah, maybe has a little bit of straw, like I almost think of like hayride kind of smell. And the taste is very smoky. It's a real, it tastes like a smoker. So it tastes earthy. Is there anything else in here that I would say? No, I'm not seeing anything else. That vegetal, maybe? No, not really. So I would say smoky is the main takeaway with this one. And let me see what it says on their website. Long hailed in South American countries as a healthy, energizing social beverage, yerba mate is finding a new audience in North America. Notable is its ability to provide energy without the jitteriness suffered by coffee imbibers. Its taste has been compared to that of green tea, but with a more herbaceous, grassy character. Enjoyed hot or iced, it can also be mixed with fruit juices for an energizing punch. I would not drink this as an iced tea, personally. I don't drink a lot as iced tea, but this definitely would not be one I would drink. A smoky flavor for iced tea, not what I would do with a plain mate. Now, maybe with a flavored mate, it might be good. So, my final tea for today, I'm going to drink all of this. It is so good. I didn't even talk about, I love it. I love mate. It's very nostalgic for me. It makes me happy. It reminds me of Chile. It reminds me of being 20. That's when I did my semester. I was 18 when I did my semester abroad. I was a baby. And it was a hard time for me because it was kind of my first time really traveling overseas. It was my first time traveling alone like that. But it was awesome. It was just a really, really fun time. And so it's very nostalgic for me. And it makes me think of, so when I would stay in Chile, I would stay with an indigenous group where there was no central heating. It didn't get that cold, but it got cold enough that I set my boots on fire because they would make like a little brazier with coals from the fire, and they would put it underneath the table, and you would kind of put your feet next to it. And I didn't really catch them on fire, but I melted through my hiking boots because my toes were so cold, and I wanted them so close to the fire that I just kind of shoved them underneath the brazier. So drinking mate, first of all, it was communal. You would pass it around. I have my mate spoon here. I don't know where my mate cup is. I have my mate cup somewhere, and the cups are shaped like gourds. I think they were originally gourds. You would put a whole bunch of mate in. You would pour the hot water in, and then you would use this to strain out the leaves. And the elders would pass it first because it was so bitter the first time you had it, and you would add sugar to it. And after the first go round, and we would all just sip from the same straw. It was a family thing, although when strangers came over, you'd make mate too. And by the second or third time, there was kind of enough sugar added. I think the elders liked it more bitter, so they would drink it bitter. It has grown on me bitter as well, but it's not nearly as bitter as you had a little tiny cup and you would fill it halfway with mate leaves. and then pass it around, and then we'd add more water and refill it and pass it around. And you would generally drink it at night, which is interesting since it's so highly caffeinated. But night was, after sunset, so it was often pretty early, and it was during the rainy season a lot while I was there, so it would rain. You were kind of stuck inside all day. So often it was like right after dinner that you would pull out the mate. So this final one. So I did throw out the bag, but I smelled it when I made this morning. It is Allergy Remedy. It is from my local tea shop, which I'm finishing up the teas from there. And it's called Allergy Relief. I made it for my son because he's got a little cold, and which I think I am unfortunately getting as well. So I made it. I made a big pot of it. He drank some of it. He's getting into tea a little bit, but he's 11. So he gets sick of it. He'll drink like half a little mug of plain hot tea with honey in it. And that's enough for him. He'll drink iced tea. He'll drink a lot of iced tea. So I'm trying to shift him over to less sugary teas. And so I'm hunting down good iced teas, herbal iced teas to make for him. So this is one that they sent me in my subscription box. It says this herbal medicinal blend makes a great replacement for over-the-counter treatment for allergy relief. I smelled it when I made it. The dry leaves, it smells a lot like peppermint, which I was not expecting because I have never really read the ingredients in this because I just get them in a black bag, and I got it so long ago I never read the ingredients. So I pulled up the ingredients on their website, and it's amazing what's in it. So it's got stinging nettle, and this helps to dry up the sinus cavities and helps alleviate watery, itchy eyes. Peppermint soothes the throat and helps to open up the airways and helps with head congestion. Mullein, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, Mullein, is an anti-inflammatory antihistamine and is an extremely potent expectorant. I don't think it's coincidental that Metamucil has kind of the same letters kind of moved around in it. They've got to come up with their names through inspiration, like some of these natural ingredients. Plantain leaf, never heard of using that in a tea, is high in potassium, zinc, iron, and magnesium. Who knew? Elderflower, which I fell in love with in the UK, lowers fevers and is a natural expectorant, which is lovely. Licorice root, which I love, which I waxed eloquent about on an earlier video, soothes the throat and eases stomach aches. Hibiscus is extremely high in vitamin C. So I assume with the hibiscus, this is also probably a good preventative. So if I can fight off this cold, this may help. So the smell is mostly peppermint again. It's a very overwhelming scent, so I'm not surprised. A little bit of hibiscus. So it's got that it's really overwhelmed by peppermint. But natural peppermint, is that, yeah, I think this is a real natural peppermint. It has a little bit of sweetness, and it's cooling. And that's what they said that, is part of the benefit of peppermint. So the other flavors I'm not really getting. Maybe a little bit of the nettle. I don't know. Let me see if there's anything. So I'm thinking of kind of a floral note. So, they're just listing specific flowers. So I don't know that that will help me, because I don't know what chrysanthemum tastes like. But let's see what the herbal ones. It really is mostly peppermint, kind of a little bit of chamomile, even though it doesn't have it in there. That kind of just real generic herbal flavor. I always think of chamomile for that. Tulsi, no. Tulsi, I believe, is a basil, and it doesn't really have that. So it really is just that kind of peppermint, minty flavor. I don't taste the licorice. I taste a little bit of the hibiscus. I don't know that I taste elderflower. So my guess is that this is very healthy for you, but it's not bad to drink. It actually would make a kind of nice iced tea, but as an allergy, I mean, that might be nice in the summer because my son has allergies year round, so it might be a way of getting him to drink allergy kind of medicine, although it's not hot. Now, for me, if I'm not feeling well, I want hot tea. I don't want cold tea ever. So those are my 3 for today. So I have the Earl Grey Bella Luna, which I may give another shot to. I think I need to start following the steeping instructions a bit more when I only have these small amounts, because I don't want to ruin it. Although, again, I used fewer leaves for the mate, and the mate is perfect. So, you know, it's kind of hit or miss. But, again, I'm going to finish off this mate. If the Earl Grey was in another box that I got, I would be happy to try it again. The mate I will finish up later, or maybe share it with my husband, but probably not. I don't think he likes mate all that much. Again, it's very nostalgic for me, so that's kind of a personal love. I don't know if he even knows if he likes it. So the mate was kind of my favorite out of this. And then we have the Allergy Relief, and even though it's from a local store, and I know I'm not sharing the name of the local store because it's a little too personal, Allergy Relief is a tea that's around. If you look, especially if you have a local tea store, look around, see if they have any of these more medicinal teas. And we have a few others. We have one called Mother's Milk. I need to look up what's in that too. They send a lot of the herbal ones, so I'll do a video on Mother's Milk at some point. And I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you enjoy these. Please do let me know if you have any favorite teas, if there's any medicinal teas that you use on a regular basis. I've heard that the David's Tea Cold 911 is really good. I haven't tried it. And I used to drink Mama Bear Cold Care, which I think was just like a Celestial Seasonings or something, and I don't think they make it anymore, and it was my favorite. I did get another cold tea. I'll do a tasting on that at some point too. I always like to have one in the house. The same company makes one called Throat Coat, but I'm drawing a blank on what the tea company is. It's just a bagged tea you buy at the grocery store. But sometimes those are all you need. And since I use them so infrequently, I hate to spend a whole lot of money on nice loose herbal tea that will get used maybe 3 times a year or something. So, all right, have a good one. Definitely send me any suggestions, and I'll be back with you soon.